Now to our first business story. President John Mahama has appointed Sammy Gyamfi as the CEO of the PMMC. As part of his duties, he is expected to set up a gold board to oversee gold production for government and also streamline gold production by small-scale miners. Let's go on Zoom and speak to Dr. Benjamin Amwa on that particular development. Good afternoon and welcome to Business Live.
Good afternoon.
Great. Doc, in your opinion, do you think the gold board is something new? And if not, what is the right direction?
Thank you. If you look at the gold board and what we have been told in the NDC's manifesto, and you look at the current regulatory bodies or agencies that play within the mining industry, then clearly the gold board is different, because currently we have about 9 industry players or agencies that provide some form of regulatory oversight in the area of mining, both small and large-scale mining. It includes PMMC itself. You have Ministry of Land and Natural Resources, Minerals Commission, Forestry Commission. You have Ghana Revenue Authority by way of the Customs Division. You can talk about other institutions or agencies that play within the industry. All of them have different roles. And sometimes you see some repetitions in the roles that they play, which of course also includes Bank of Ghana as a major player within that particular industry. So for us to have a gold board, which will now be focusing mainly on the small-scale sector, then we can say that it is something new. But in terms of its functions, it appears that some of the functions are most likely to be currently being played by some of these regulatory agencies that we have in the country.
So are you saying, Doc, are you saying there will be confliction? Are you saying there will be unnecessary confliction, especially in terms of execution of the mandate compared to what the central bank has been doing?
Yeah, definitely. The central bank is not the major regulator of mining in Ghana. The central bank is into the domestic gold purchase program simply.
Look, I mean, in terms of accounting for the gold reserves.
Definitely, in terms of accounting for gold reserves, Bank of Ghana has a role to play. But it is appearing that the gold board will not be looking at so much about the accounting aspect, because the accounting aspect will definitely be the responsibility of Bank of Ghana. When it comes to the transfers, the payment issues, all of them, Bank of Ghana will need to have some oversight responsibilities. But when it comes to the marketing aspect, when it comes to the licensing of small-scale miners, when it comes to what they do and research support, that will be the mandate, or that is likely to be the mandate of the gold board. So Bank of Ghana will still have its role to play, especially in purchasing the gold for its own currency backing. But when it comes to harnessing the responsibility and managing the sector, especially the small-scale sector, that is where I am suspecting that the gold board will come into play. But we should not forget that all the regulatory agencies that I mentioned earlier on are in one way or the other playing some small aspect of what the gold board is likely to do when it comes into force.
Doc, do you think this will help bring some sort of transparency in accounting for possible gold exports?
It's very possible that can happen, because you see, it is also appearing that the gold board is likely to play a similar role of what cocoa board is doing in the area of cocoa. That is my suspicion. But because in the manifesto, the details of the gold board was not clearly spelled out, it's difficult for one to understand exactly what they're going to do. But clearly, if you read between the lines, it is going to be something like the Ghana Cocoa Board, but this time around in the area mainly focusing on small-scale mining, because that is where there has been a lot of issues and a lot of lack of transparency. For the large-scale mining companies, sometimes documentations and trail on their activities is easy. But if you look at the small scale mining, it's sometimes a bit difficult to know what is happening there. So if we have the board, definitely the issue of transparency will be much more clearer for all industry players to have their eye into and to appreciate what is happening, most especially in the area of the small scale mining sector.
Dr. Benjamin Amoah, we appreciate your time here on Business Live. Now we're speaking about the appointment of Sammy Gyamfi as the Managing Director. Now moving on to other development. Yes, so we'll touch on that particular development and see the outcome of how the Gold Board will function and its key actuaries, basically saying how the conversation has been since the central bank has been overseeing the gold for oil purchase. And also there has been a lot of conversation about how much of our gold reserves have gone on to be exported. And basically, central bank also has given assurance that the Ghana gold coin has become quite formidable and being an interesting investment option for individuals who intend to purchase gold. So that was the assessment on that. Now, moving on, cost of transportation dominated factors that pushed inflation about 20% in 2024. This, according to the Ghana Statistical Service, contributed to food inflation going up due to the high cost of transporting foodstuffs from the farm gate to consumers. We want to make an assessment of this particular take. In December 2024, inflation inched up to 23.8%, as you can see behind me there. Now, when we talk about that particular numbers that was released by the Ghana Statistical Service, food inflation hit 27.8%. And that was quite disturbing because, according to the same statistical service, transportation is one of the key factors contributing to inflation rising consistently. So if you look at for the month of 2024, from January to February, food has been dominating, and transport fare and cost has also been a leading factor, according to assessment by key players in the industry. Now, I want us to look at a particular trend. If you look at the trend behind me, you can see food inflation going up, going down between January to February 2024 to the tune of 27 to 28%, hitting that particular trajectory. It went up in the month of March to April to 29.60%. The interesting aspect was that we saw food inflation falling down because of the abundant rainy season, and food prices coming down between May to August 2024. It fell to the lowest in the month of September to the tune of 19.10%. So this is the trend of year-on-year food inflation, comparatively giving you a good reflection of how much food costs and the rate at which the price increased. So in December 2024, it hit its highest to 27.80%. So that is what you see right there. Now, I'm going to touch on that particular issue that we've been talking about, especially one of the key factors contributing enormously to the food inflation. Transport, if you look at the trend in terms of division, transport contributed by 7.6% in the overall food inflation basket, overall national inflation, and also housing, water, electricity, and fuel, 11.6%, while food inflation alone contributes about 51%, which is more than the national average. So as you can see here, a fuel price, which is part of the water, transport, which is 7.6%, tells you the outlook of how it's directly hit on food. So let's hope that this particular development in terms of policy direction will be resolved as the government is trying as much as possible. As appointed agri minister, we are yet to see the overflow or downflow of the implementation of its various policies and how it will affect the cost of food. However, food prices continue to soar as others record some key issues: steady price reduction at Malabtam Market in Accra. Some of the traders attributed the change in prices to erratic rainfall patterns and seasonal changes. My colleague Helen Nakai Aye was present at the market and filed this report.
And consumers at Malamata Market are grappling with sharp increases in the prices of foodstuff. Some of the traders have blamed the situation on unpredictable weather patterns and the change in seasons. A visit to the market revealed that staples such as plantain, yam, onion, and tomatoes have seen price hikes over the past few months. Speaking to traders, they emphasized that the current situation is a result of inadequate rainfall during the previous farming season, which affected harvest across major food processing regions.
5 months in Sunto. Tama body and into me yakasi. Tama price and akokoso.
For 5 months now, it hasn't rained, so the plantain are unable to grow in size, and the prices have also increased. The prices were low during the raining period. The rainfall pattern is the reason for the price hike.
Sebaki tuabia na ne bona edi. Tinsuo na Antoni ntina ma sese afete no. Nti sensuo start say to na nema no eba bebria ne bo no beba fom.
Oh, yam ne bo ne de anka eye. But last year, no, insuo no anto.
Last year, the rains didn't fall, thus resulting in the high price of the yam. August is the season for yam, and it could be sold for as low as 3 for 10 cedis, but it is now 3 for 50 cedis or 25 cedis.
But this last year, the year one of 50 cedi, 25.
Some consumers have expressed concerns about how the price increases are stretching their already tight budgets.
I think the food prices are coming down small, but as soon as maybe from next week going, it will be okay, because onions, at first when you buy onion, this onion can be 50 Ghana, but today look at it, 20 Ghana. So I think it's coming down small. Sometimes you take money and come to the market, then before you see all your money is finished. So it's affecting us small, but I think it will come down small.
Meanwhile, traders remain optimistic that prices will stabilize once the rains set in.
Also, the Ghana Statistical Service has convened a stakeholder engagement on the review of the 2024 trends. However, key experts such as the Agribusiness Chamber has consistently reiterated the development, and we've seen that particular story coming up next.
The meeting highlighted the importance of understanding the complex factors contributing to consumer price inflation, which engendered discussion on the development of comprehensive strategies to address the issues. The engagement focused on key consumable items that have influenced the upward trends in the rate of inflation in Ghana. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, this is very critical in order to have a better approach in calculating the rate. Here is data scientist at the GSS, Simon Tichutab.
What we did basically was to identify items in the inflation basket which actually drive the rate we report every month. And how did we do that? We looked out for items that have standardized unit of measurement. We look at the percentage change in these items from 2018 to 2024. And by so doing, we were able to compute the net effect of each of these items per month, and then did a ranking. And out of that, we were able to identify some 15 items appearing in the top 15 ranked items over the period.
He therefore believes that items in the food basket and transportation must be critically examined in order to drive down inflation.
Nice. Now, if you look at the items, Bus and Trotro first ranked in the top 15 for about 70 times of the 72 data points we have. So you pick the ranking 15 items every year, and you realize that Bus and Trotro first is ranking about 70 times. And then you have a lot of the food items like unprocessed food like yam, fresh tomatoes also featuring in there. So it may be a multi-approach in addressing some of these issues. And in my view, I sincerely believe that if we really want to tackle inflation, and given the fact that we are having 13 food items featuring, we need to look at our food basket as a country. Are we producing enough? And what we are producing, what is the gap between the farm gate and what happened transmitting this food price from the farms into the market.
The items consistently recording the highest price changes constitute almost a third of average household expenditure.
So that was a stakeholder engagement by the Ghana Statistical Service, reconsidering whether adding certain items or bringing some new ones on the inflation basket consistently. So that is that development there. Now, still staying on agriculture, CEO of the Chamber of Agribusiness, Anthony Morrison, has attributed the rise in food inflation to the failure of previous government support farmers ahead of the drought season. Speaking in an interview with Joy Business, Mr. Morrison urged the current Agric Minister designate to swiftly intervene to ensure food security for the next 3 months.
The first thing was that as a country last year, we registered at this time, prior to planting season, there was a drought spell. So that affected the major harvest season. Now, that also notwithstanding, the government did not actually take any pragmatic effort to provide any kind of intervention for these farmers to be able to quickly replant within the same major season for us to have something going. So you see, instead of the $120 million given to them by the World Bank, they actually spent that to import maize and rice, where they could have given farmers irrigation materials, water pumps and generators to now plow back the mitigation. That didn't happen. Now, going into the minor season, because that was also getting to election time, government was fixated, the previous government was fixated on election. So they imported this to do election campaign. Now it failed. Okay, so the lean season, the dry season did not also get any support from government. This is the result of what the previous government has done, and that's why we are feeling the pain this point in time. When it comes to ginger, you know, ginger takes a long time to produce. It's not like the other vegetables. It's a root product, which is a vegetable that we use. Now, when it comes to tomatoes, Burkina Faso is now adding value to their tomatoes. So obviously, the best tomatoes are going to go into the factory. What is going to left for us to import into Ghana is going to be small. So we are seeing the prices of tomatoes also going up. What we need to do now is to drastically put in support for farmers, give them the critical support that they need now, also provide the drought-resistant intervention so that even if we get any drought spell, which we believe strongly based on the weather, as it stands that we haven't recorded any heavy downfall of rain. So we are projecting that we are going to experience some form of drought spell. This is the time the government needs to start looking at where are the intervention.
We have more business update for you right after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Business Live. Now, some oil marketing companies have started increasing prices of the petroleum product at the pumps. Judge Gyamfi has the rest of the story.
Market leader GOIL and Shell have taken the lead, making some changes to their prices at the various service stations across the country. GOIL is selling a litre of petrol at 15 Ghana cedis 99 pesos from the old price of 14 Ghana cedis 99 pesos, representing a 1 cedi hike. Diesel is going for 15 Ghana cedis 77 pesos. Some 2 weeks ago, it was selling at 15 Ghana cedis 60 pesos. Another player, that is Shell, is selling a litre of petrol at 15 Ghana cedis 59 pesos from the old price of 15 Ghana cedis 50 pesos per litre. Diesel, on the other hand, for Shell, has gone up from 15 Ghana cedis 66 pesos to 15 Ghana cedis 75 pesos. Some of the oil marketing firms have linked this increase to rising prices of crude oil on the international market and current pressure on the Ghana cedi.
That's all for business here on Business Live. My name is Winston Taki. Coming up next is Beyond the Numbers, where we'll be assessing ECG's financial position as against the key challenges that is confronting the energy sector. Stay tuned right after this.